everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. I've done on my TikTok 23 books I want to read in 2023, 24 books I want to read in 2024, and now we're taking it to YouTube for 25 books I want to read in 2025. And I have some really exciting ones on this. I have some ones from 2024 that I didn't read, so please don't come for me. So I'm going to start off. I have these in no particular order. So the first one is Picking Daisies on Sunday. Can you see that? Is it focusing? I know nothing about this, but the cover is just absolutely stunning. Next is Strange Sally Diamond. Know absolutely nothing about this either, but I've seen people talking really highly of it, so I'm really excited to give that a go. Next is by an Irish author. She is an author, but she used to be the state pathologist for Ireland. So she had a true, not fiction, but it wasn't like biographical or a memoir. It was about basically her experience of being the pathologist and cases that she saw over the years. But this is her first work of fiction. It's called Body of Truth. So I'm very interested to see how that goes. Next is, and please don't come for me when I show this because I should have read it already, but I haven't. Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is my signed edition. I was lucky enough to find one in Dubray that was signed. So yeah, this is my signed copy. I won't be reading my signed copy. I have two copies of it. I have a normal one and I have the signed one. So I'll read that. Because we have Great Big Beautiful Life coming out in April. So I want to read it before that comes out and then put off reading the one in April until she announces the next one, because that's what I do. Next is Small Favours by Erin A. Craig. This has been on my TBR for the longest time. Rainy Days Library said this is one of her favourite books of all time. And then I said, I need to read this. That was nearly 2 years ago. So this has to be read this year. I don't know will I keep it to the fall though, because it seems like more of a fall type of book. But we'll see. I'm just going to pick up the next three there now. The next one is Wild by Kristen Hanna. I've seen so many people talk about Kristen Hanna. I read, everyone talks about The Nightingale, yeah. This is the one that's in the corner there. Everyone talks about The Nightingale, and also, I just dropped it, sorry. Everyone talks about The Nightingale and also about Firefly Lane. I've actually watched the TV show. It's so heartbreaking. So I don't want to read that book yet. Sorry, I need a little drink. Don't want to read that one yet. So I'm going to wait and I'm going to read other ones of hers and then maybe do Firefly Lane when it's been long since I haven't seen it, because I'll just be comparing it to the show the whole time if I read it now. Next is Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. I don't like this cover. The American cover is way nicer. I think the American cover is red. It's basically about a podcast called Listen for the Lie. Yeah, I just know it's a thriller. It's meant to be very, very interesting. I've heard people say the audiobook is very, very good, so I might audiobook it as well as read it at the same time. But it depends on the narrator, because I find that with audiobooks I need a very specific type of voice to listen to. And I can't listen to it if the voice just doesn't sound, not that how I pictured it in my head, but if I can't listen to their voice, then I can't. I listen to the same podcasts over and over again because their voices in my head are just so soothing. Like Ashley Flowers from Crime Junkie is one I'd listen to all day, every day. She has a voice for podcasts. And then Pete Wicks has a very, very distinctive voice that is soothing at the same time. And then Sarah Crowley. Sarah Crowley has one of the most soothing voices I've ever heard. But yeah, so I don't know what I audiobook it. Sorry, I'm going off on a whole tangent about audiobooks. You didn't need to hear that. Next is The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Know absolutely nothing about it, but it's on my TBR a while. Just grab the last bit of this pile here because it's very low to the ground, so I want to be in focus. Now, next, 6 of Crows. This is, I don't know what the name of the Duology is called. Grishaverse, is it? No. I don't know. It's by Lee Bardugo. Sarah Crowley has raved about this for a very long time, so I feel like it's one that I need to get to this year because I've been putting it out. It's been on my TBR cart, I'd say cart for about 6 months. It needs to be read. Next is Save Swear by Megan Brandy. I just know it's surrounding American football. That's all I know. It seems very long for a romance, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that, but everyone I've spoken to, 514 pages is quite long for a romance, so we'll have to see how I fare with that. I don't know how I will. Next is Divine Rivals. This has been on my TBR since it came out. Really like the concept. I think I'd really enjoy it. I just haven't gotten around to read it. It's been on my TBR cart for the whole time. I actually was lucky enough to find I don't know if you can see it here. It's up there on the top there. I don't know if you can see it. The Owl Crate edition of it in my local secondhand shop in Vibes and Scribes in the used book site. And I got it for like €7. €7, lads. Convert that into whatever country you're from and then you'll know how much I spent on it. Next is If You Had Been With Me. Also got this in Vibes and Scribes. I've had it long time. I haven't read it, know nothing about it. All of these books also I probably know nothing about them. That's why I haven't read them. And I like going in quite blind. So Betting on You by Lynn Painter is the next one. I don't even know what this is about. I don't know what any of these are about. I'm sorry. The next is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. I just really like the cover, and I've seen Destiny Sidwell, I've seen Sarah Crowley, I've seen loads of people rave about this, so I'm really, really intrigued to see if I do like it. Then we have The Prison Healer, and let me say again, Sarah Crowley recommended this, so that is why I'm reading it. I had to pause, I got interrupted. So the next part, I want this to be the last book I talk about, so I'm going to put that over there and then just go from this. So this is Lightlark by, is it Alex Astor? Alex Astor, yes. This I've heard so much about. I've heard people giving out about it. I've heard people raving about it. I've heard everything you can hear about this book and I just haven't read it yet. So my sister kindly got me a voucher to Vibes and Scribes for my birthday. So picked it up in there. I just have to read it. I'm not going to... I don't want to shock anyone here, but this has been on my TBR. When was this book published? When were you published? 2022. This has been on my TBR since 2023. Every time I say I'm going to read it, and I just don't. I feel like I'm very intimidated by it. I read one of R.F. Kuang's books. I read Yellowface, and I really, really enjoyed it. But I think that's because it wasn't dystopian and all that. And I don't know how I feel about Babel. When I first started out reading, I thought I'd really enjoy it. I thought I'd really love the concept of it. But now, as I've graduated, my taste has matured in books as I've started, because I'm reading 2 years now. I don't know what I enjoy. I'm quite intrigued, but also apprehensive about it. But that'll be one that I'll probably keep until fall time, I want to say. Next, another one. Zodiac Academy. Sorry, I did that and I realised I need to hold it up here. I've heard so many people talking about it. It's Larry Reid's favourite series of all time. Sarah Crowley didn't really enjoy it. Olivia Reads a Latte loves it. I just feel like I'm in the minority of people who just haven't read it yet or given it a chance. And I bought this when I first got back into reading, so that would be in 2023. So that's another one that's been on my TBR for so long. So long. Next, I'm actually surprising myself with this. The only reason I'm choosing to pick this is because I was so pleasantly surprised by The Boys of Tommen, because I'm a type of person who doesn't like to read about where I live. Or so I thought. I thought because I lived in Cork or because I lived in Ireland, I wasn't going to enjoy The Boys of Tommen. It is literally one of my top series of all time. If it's not the top, it's one of the top. So with this next one, with Normal People by Sally Rooney, I remember watching this show, and the way they did the show was absolutely brilliantly. Paul Mescal was brilliant, and Daisy Edgar Jones was fabulous. I obviously don't know is it what people imagined? Because I haven't read the book, so I don't know, should I have imagined them a certain way? But the show was so relatable. It was just so relatable. Like, the minute I started watching it, I was like, oh my God. Like, I nearly got flashbacks to secondary school. So now that I read Boys of Tommen last year and I absolutely loved it, I thought this year I'm going to branch out and I'm going to read more Irish authors, because I feel like it's great supporting American authors and UK authors and every other country authors. But I feel like we have great authors from our country too who don't get enough hype. I know obviously Sally Rooney is highly known, but as an Irish person, I personally haven't thought about picking it up ever. So it's been a while now since I watched the series. I'd say I was in college, so that would be at least 4 or 5 years ago since I watched it, maybe longer. So I'm hoping I've forgotten enough about the show to give this a fair chance, but also I haven't forgotten anything about the show because the show is so engraved in my head because it's such an amazing show. But yeah, I want to read Normal People basically, and I don't want to read Conversations with Friends or Beautiful World, Where Are You? Because no, I didn't even like the show of Conversation with Friends. I just didn't like it. And I have Intermezzo on my TBR as well, and I want to read that. So I want to give Sally Rooney a proper chance this year. Next is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I have Part of Your World on my TBR for this month, and I know that if this is the second one to that, so I want to read this. It's about 2 doctors as far as I know, and I know the male main character suffers with his anxiety a lot, and that it's handled very well, I've seen from other people talking about. So I just want to give it a chance, give it a go. Next is Never by Jessa Hastings. I don't normally like retellings, I'm not going to lie. I do not like retellings, and I know this is a retelling of Peter Pan, but I just feel like because the way Jessa Hastings writes, I think I could nearly get over that. I know a lot of people have complained about it. I know a lot of people haven't liked it. So I've seen both ends of the argument. I've seen people talking about how much they loved it and people talking about how much they hated it. So I'm just going to go into it just thinking, with no expectations basically. I'm not going to put too much high expectations on this, because then if I don't like it, I'm known to blame myself. So next is Frederick Bachman, A Man Called Ove. Again, like Kristen Hanna, I've seen Sarah, Des, Rachel Catherine, I think possibly, all talking about Frederick Bachman. Like they all got into him this year and they all seem to love him. So it just sounds like my time to do it. Next is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I have had this on my TBR for 2 years at least, and it's just still sat there, and I have a special edition of it and I haven't even read it. So yeah, that is very interesting to have books for so long and just not read them. So I'm trying to make more of a conscious effort this year to get through the books I have, and then the books that I want to buy, I hope it'll satiate the buying basically. And next, these are both memoirs. I think they're classed as memoirs. So this is called Beautiful Boy and this is called Tweak. So Beautiful Boy, there's a movie of it now, and Timothée Chalamet and Steve Carell are in it. I saw Destiny Sidwell read Beautiful Boy. I've wanted to watch the movie for a very long time. We were shown it in college when I was shown, we were being shown how like movies instill the feelings in you, how they do it. So I saw this, and it's basically the dad's journey through his son's addiction from his point of view. But since then, the son has actually came out with his side of his addiction from his point of view and how he survived and came out the other side. So I'm really excited to read the 2 of these, and I want to read more non-fiction books this year too. So these 2 are definitely ones that are like really high up, because for anyone who doesn't know, I used to work in the addiction services. I used to work in the homeless services in Ireland, and if you know what that means, the homeless services generally come with a lot of addiction alongside of it, just based on circumstance, which look is completely understandable. That's the way it is. So I've seen a lot of it. I've seen a lot of the trials and tribulations that people go through when they're in addiction, how hard it is, how it's a never-ending cycle, and you think that they're going to get out and then they won't and they can't. And not only does it affect that person, it affects everyone around them. It doesn't just affect your friends around you. It affects your family around you. It affects your kids. It affects your partner. Addiction is just so hard to deal with. So this one is probably going to be a very emotional read for me, because the reason I got out of working where I did was because it took such a toll on my mental health, because I'm such a caring person. I like to think I'm such a caring person. And just seeing that every day was very, very hard for me. It took a massive toll on me. But I'm really interested to see, because obviously the drug epidemic in Ireland is quite common to me, whereas this is in America. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like, because I'm just so used to the way it is in Ireland. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, those two are very, very important reads for me this year. I really want to read them. I think it's amazing that the father was able to write a story from his point of view, and I think it's amazing that the son was able to survive, and now he's able to write about his story and his time through addiction. I just think it's really beautiful. I'm going to stop ranting about addiction now, sorry. And then last, but certainly not least, the only reason I'm showing this by itself, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It took me nearly a year and a half to read ACOTAR. How long do you think it's going to take me to read Throne of Glass? I have the full box set down there, but I was kindly sent this by Bloomsbury as one of their Christmas presents. They had like a thing that you could sign up for, and I just dropped it, that you could receive a present picked out by one of their employees. So I was kindly sent that one as a Christmas present, which was really, really exciting. But I just bought the box set, so I have that one just by itself. So I'm going to keep it and maybe do a giveaway with it eventually. But I'm finally going to read Throne of Glass. It'll probably take me a year and a half, 2 years to read. My cousin doesn't understand, because she's like, once I start a series, I'm locked in. I read that whole series, or I read that whole duology, trilogy, whatever. Whereas with me, I've so many other books on the brain and so many other books I want to read that I don't really focus on just dedicating my time to one series. But like, I have to read Throne of Glass this year. I don't think I'm going to read Crescent City. Let me know in the comments if you think I should. But I don't personally think it's for me. But yeah, those are the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. What books are you planning to read in 2025? Are any of them the same as the ones on my list, or do you have different ones? Comment below and let me know. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.